Coverage from Washington. Hey, Joe.
Hi, Elizabeth. Quite a day for sure. We had a lot of memorable moments in that hearing room. And big picture, I think a lot of people leaving that room, lawmakers, members of the public who were there, UFO researchers who were there, all came out saying the same thing, that this hearing, with its very serious questions from members of Congress and its very credible witnesses, broke down some barriers about even talking about this issue at all, and they think it could pave the way for even more whistleblowers and information on this topic to come forward.
You know, I'm not like a UFO fanatic. It's not me. But I will tell you that what we saw with 4 sets of eyes over a 5-minute period, still, we have nothing close to it.
A milestone moment in our nation's history, an acknowledgement that UFOs exist, are currently in our airspace, and could pose a threat to national security.
Do you believe UAPs pose a potential threat to our national security?
Yes, and here's why. The technology that we faced was far superior than anything that we had, and you could put that anywhere. If you had one, you captured one, you reverse engineered it, you got it to work, you're talking something that can go into space, go someplace, drop down in a matter of seconds, do whatever it wants, and leave. And there's nothing we can do about it.
And of course, the bombshell claims from whistleblower David Grush, who spoke exclusively with NewsNation last month, now under oath and officially part of the Congressional record.
Do you believe that our government is in possession of UAPs?
Absolutely, based on interviewing over 40 witnesses over 4 years.
Grush left the door open to the possibility people have been hurt in what he calls a cover-up of that secret government program.
Do you have any personal knowledge of people who have been harmed or injured in efforts to cover up or conceal these extraterrestrial technology?
Yes. Personally.
Have anyone been murdered that you would that you know of or have heard of, I guess?
I have to be careful asking that question. I directed people with that knowledge to the appropriate authorities.
Grush's account is not firsthand, but the 2 other witnesses are. Lieutenant Graves has spoken to NewsNation multiple times about his team's firsthand encounter with UFOs. Today, he and his fellow military pilot, David Fravor, were upfront about what they say they have encountered in our airspace.
We were primarily seeing dark gray or black cubes inside of a clear sphere.
Looked down saw a white tic-tac object with a longitudinal axis pointing north-south and moving very abruptly over the water like a ping-pong ball.
Describing in detail seeing aircraft that defied our laws of physics in its movements at speeds that would kill human pilots, and technology far superior, they say, to ours.
Mr. Graves and Fravor, in the event that your encounters had become hostile, would you have had the capability to defend yourself?
Absolutely not.
Sir?
No.
The witnesses say they hope their testimony encourages others to speak out.
Having a secure system, reducing the stigma, and making this information available through the public is going to reduce the concerns that aircrew have.
For now, all 3 witnesses say they testified because they swore an oath to protect this country.
Why did you come forward on this issue?
Purely a sense of duty. I first swore an oath when I was a cadet 18 years ago, and I still uphold that.
Elizabeth, nothing about today was exactly normal, but what was also unusual and notable was the bipartisanship in that room. Unlike many of the hearings that we see nowadays, there was widespread agreement from both Democrats and Republicans that more information needs to come forward and that whistleblowers should be protected in wanting to come forward and sharing that sensitive information with the public and with Congress.
Yeah, all the members of Congress today of that committee taking this very seriously, and also in the White House, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there were some questions today that were posed to National Security Spokesman John Kirby about this issue, about whether they were listening to the hearing, whether they were taking some of these claims seriously at all. And if you thought that maybe they were not, Kirby shut that down pretty quickly, saying, no, the president on down does take these issues and these sightings seriously.
If the president didn't believe that the sightings by pilots were serious enough to be considered, he wouldn't have wanted the Pentagon to stand up in office to look at this, to analyze the data, to collect reports, to provide a system by which we can collate the information and better figure out what we've got here. But that work's ongoing. So if your question is, do we think we need to be transparent people? Of course we need to be as transparent as we can be. But the truth is, Jeremy, we don't have hard and fast answers on these things. We are trying to get smarter.
Elizabeth, he said something similar last week, and Admiral Kirby just elaborating on those comments after the hearings this morning, but certainly something that now is on his radar.
And he's saying full transparency is what they're aiming for. Joe Khalil, all right, thanks so much. Joining us now is investigative journalist Ross Coulthart, whose NewsNation interview with whistleblower David Grush is what led to today's hearing. Ross, always great to have you. Grush first said to you on this network, and we heard him say it today under oath, he absolutely believes the U.S. government has craft of non-human origin and that he knows exactly where the government is keeping it.
He does, and in fact, he's actually provided a very specific list and details to the Congress already.